Okay, so last time I've talked about the 5 things that I would suggest to my younger self that I should have done but I didn't do. And one of the points I've made was reading books that help you move further in your path. And I've decided to put together, I would say, the 5 books. I thought about doing 10, but 10 is quite a lot for someone who's beginning to get into the reading of some important books. So I've thought about doing just 5 of them. And I've put together 5 books that I think that every young man should read. And some of these books you might know they exist, some of them you might not know, and some of them might even make you frustrated, make you hate reality. But they are the books that are gonna affect your life for the better the most. So let's start with the first book. The first book that I have here, this edition looks different than I was used to. This is the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and it's not too long of a book, and sometimes it can be hard to read depending on which translation you have, because if you have the translation from, I think it's like 18th or 19th century, there's an old English in it and it's quite hard to read it. This is probably some newer edition where I was surprised how new the English in it was, because the first time I've read these was the old edition, the old translation, so it was fun. And you might see everywhere that this book was not supposed to be even published, because it was Marcus Aurelius talking to himself, making points for himself, but it expands on the main philosophy of this community, I would say, which is Stoicism. And in this case, it really is something that you should read to know more about how you can function, how you should function in society and things like these. The second book that I have here, I'm skipping one because I think those are going to be important later. So I would not start with the Meditations, I would start with a different book, but Meditations would be the second book that I would read. I did not start with the first book that I recommend you, because I don't have physical copy of that book, even though I should have a physical copy of it. So let's talk about that book. That book is The Slight Edge. I've already mentioned it in one of my previous videos, and I can't remember the author right now, but it's similar to the book Atomic Habits that probably almost everyone knows. But I feel like The Slight Edge is a little bit shorter and has given examples in a wider variety of things, not just your habits. In making everything, it's more about the discipline than the atomic habits. So that's the second or the first book that you should read and learn from, The Slight Edge. You might see it somewhere, I don't know, probably not, maybe you will. You can just search it. And then I would read the meditations that I've shown you before. The third book that I would recommend is this book, Estrogeneration by Dr. Anthony G. J. This book is important for not just us as men, but for human species. It's because it explains how plastics and all these things, how we are experiencing problems because of it. And I've already again made a video pointing some things out from this book, which you can find on my channel somewhere. I don't remember what it was called, because if you found my channel and saw the timeline of me uploading videos, then you could see that it's been half a year since I've uploaded, or almost half a year. So this book is really good in telling you what to avoid and how to avoid it and what implications it has if you don't avoid those things. And the implications are horrifying. Really horrifying. That was the third book. Let's go to the last two books, which might be a little bit controversial. Let's start with the one less controversial, even though the name is more controversial than the second one. And that is The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. As you can see, the name sounds misogynic, but it's said even in the preface. In the beginning of the book, the author himself says that it does not have to be about a man, that it's more about the way of the person with the masculine energy contrary to the feminine energy. So the superior man is just the shorter version of how to explain it. And this book is really good to read for everyone. Even if you are a person who is in their feminine energy more than in their masculine energy, it's a good read. And you can always give it to somebody who has masculine energy and you want them to read it. That's always an option. But even if you have the feminine energy, you can read it and not get scammed and know what to expect from someone with masculine energy and how you can help them maintain that masculine energy. So that's a book that is really helpful. And if you are a man that is in their masculine side, I would suggest this twice as much. Okay? It's really important and it can help you find your way. That's why it's one of the things where they mentioned that if you have a masculine energy, you should have your purpose in the first place. Everything else is after your purpose. Your purpose comes first. So that's definitely the book you should read. And now comes the time for the last book, the most controversial book probably, the book that will probably, if, or I'm not certain it will, but it has the highest chance of making you hate reality. And I could have put this book as the first book and then all the subsequent chapters, the other books of this series as the other 4, because there are now 5 books of this series. But I think it's important to have the 4 books that I've already talked about and then read this book. And this book is really special in what it describes, and as I've said, it's something that can cause you to hate reality, hate your life, hate society, can have different outcomes, but if you are starting to read this book, you should go into it with an open mind, without holding any prejudice against the author and me. Please don't hate me because of it. I think it's a book that everybody should, or every man should read, and that is The Rational Male. Now, The Rational Male might be familiar to some of you, might not, I don't know, but just the title itself may bring out controversy in today's sphere, in today's world, and it's understandable that it brings out controversy, but the book itself is a really nice book, guiding you, explaining how you should be, again as a man, moving through life. What are the main obstacles in your way? What are the hardest things you have to face? The realities, which are not too comforting, not too nice to hear or read. And it really just brings out the unwanted reality that you did not want to see. And that's why it even starts with the phrase or citation of Matrix. Why do my eyes hurt? Because you've never used them before. It's 2 reasons why it uses that metaphor for Matrix, and that is because it's from the perspective of the red pill, which almost everybody who's on self-improvement figured out that the red pill is the thing that we should follow, the red pill movement, not being blue pilled, and not pushing it to the boundaries of black pill. Black pill is something even worse. Definitely don't go to the boundaries, don't push the boundaries, just go through the red pill, and that's where you are, the red pill. And because it shows you the uncomfortable truths about the world, how it works, that's why there's the phrase, why do my eyes hurt? Because you've never used them before. And it really does open your eyes to reality. Well, that took quite a depressing turn, didn't it? Well, those were the 5 books that I would recommend that every young man, or every man, but especially young man, should read, because the sooner you read them, the easier it is to come to terms with the reality written in the books and to stop some things from happening, as in the Esther generation. So take this lesson, read the books, and remember, hard work pays off.